I was playing the most amazing elevator music for like the first 5 minutes of the AMA last week because it wouldn't turn off. It was great. Awkward, but great.
Well, yeah. I wish they would do lives on I wish they would do lives on computer because then you can actually use real equipment instead of just phones. Sorry, no, I didn't mean to take over. It's all you guys.
Morning, everybody.
Good
Or
morning,
evening.
Michelle.
I guess it
Or
depends on where you live. I always forget that it's morning for me, but it's not morning for everybody.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Can you guys hear me okay?
wonderfully.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Just get Discord set up here. All right. It's Dark Magician. I see you afternoon. There in Discord. Well, let's see. So we've got looks like everybody. Oh, Volcron is here. Awesome. Well,
Morning.
let's go ahead and get us kicked off. Welcome everybody. It is Friday, January 20th. 1 week past the Friday the 13th, and thankfully nothing went sour on Friday the 13th in our last AMA. So we got some really cool stuff to talk about today, and we also have a special guest speaker. Bitbender's joining us today to share a couple of words of goodness. We always appreciate having him here. And then we've got a full agenda to go down like we normally do. Mal will be joining us at the end with a little bit of his special goodness. So why don't we go ahead and kick off? Michelle, I think Bitbender's the first one on the agenda. Is that right?
Yes, he is.
Sorry, I was muted. I am the first
Yes.
one on the agenda. Just wanted to come in and say hi to everyone and see how everything's going. I have not been able to make it to a lot of these weekly Townstar AMAs, but I have to say, guys, I'm super, super, super stoked with what's coming for the ecosystem in general, but specifically for Townstar. Some of these things that I'm seeing being dropped in channels by the Townstar team are super cool, and I don't want to give it away, but yeah, it's impressive stuff. And a little bit of a shout out to the Gala Gold community. I'm watching the Discord there. Yaiken, how are you, man? Hope you're doing well. Wait, you can use equipment on PC for Twitter Spaces? Really?
What?
What? I can
What?
use Restream? What? Oh my God.
You mean I
That
don't have
change
to
that
hold my
changes
phone in front of my
everything.
face?
That
Sorry.
changes everything.
Oh my
But
God, yes.
yeah, you guys are amazing, and I appreciate that little bit of news. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that. And I just want to let you guys know that for the entire Gala ecosystem, there's some really cool stuff that's going to be announced, including a gigantor paper that you guys will be able to really get your teeth into and look at. It talks about some of what's coming for the ecosystem for the next year. It is our Vision 2023 document, so you guys can expect that probably Monday. So
Ooh, that's cool. Hey,
it's going to be pretty neat.
one of the things that you and I were deeply involved in last week was the idea of, swapping town for Gala.
Yeah,
Do you want to
correct.
share a little bit about that with our community here? There's a lot of questions. We kind of went through it, but I think you have some special insights.
The special insights about the swap itself.
Yeah, or just
Um,
and why and the thinking behind it. I'm sure everybody
yeah.
would love to hear.
So this is something that it's kind of interesting to watch, um, because there have been some very very fun conversations that have been had in other channels and whatnot about this. Because there are some people who are unhappy with the ratio. Some people are happy with the ratio. Um, it's a little, it's interesting. But anyway, the way that we basically did this is we looked at what the ratio between Town and Gala had been for about the last 6 months, and we picked something that was going to be uh, a little bit of a bonus for the people who were going to be swapping Town, because we knew that it was a pretty significant change for the ecosystem. And it's been interesting to watch the way that that plays out, because there's a lot of things that having Townstar based on Gala rather than Town does that I don't think people really quite understand just yet, and will only become really clear over the next few months as the rest of this ecosystem continues to unfold. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fun to watch. I know that the swap site is planned to go live within the next 60 days, I believe,
Yeah.
and it will be a 6 month swap window, and it'll exist on ETH. So it will be an actual DApp on ETH where you'll be able to go put Town in, and Gala will come out, and it will be a very simple, straightforward, connect your wallet sort of process. Um, and it will be handled by a third party, so it's not actually going to be us. So yeah,
That'll be jury-based Gala, right?
what was
Is
that?
that right? Is that gonna? We're switching also at that point to have everything be on chain, right?
Well, so it'll be for the swap itself from Town. It will be ETH Gala.
Oh, ETH Gala. Okay.
Yeah, that they will get, because it needs to be the third party's going to be handling that. So
Got it.
it'll still be on ETH, but it's going to be a pretty straightforward process.
That's cool. So while we have Bitbender here, guys, does anybody have any quick questions for him before we jump into more Townstar?
And I'm watching Gala Gold too, so if you guys have questions, feel free to put them
Yeah.
there. If not, I have baby appointments that I have to go to today, because we're like a week and a half away from baby Bitbender 2.
Oof.
And
Ooh-ah.
dude, I don't know whose idea it was to have another child at the same time as you have one child already. It's crazy talk.
Well,
But
you know what happens when you have more than one, right? Double coverage has to go man to man, right?
this is madness. It's madness. We have to stop it too. We can't let them outnumber us.
Ooh. Yeah, then you'd have to play zone. I have 4, so I know exactly what you're headed for with more than 2.
Ooh. Rocket Unit has a good question. Rocket Unit asks, is there any plans on how to expand the community for Townstar?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Absolutely. I don't want that. That's not a me thing per se, but put it this way. We've got some stuff that is coming that is, man, I feel like I have to like go backwards and say some of the stuff I said yesterday. The biggest challenge that we have in the Web3 space, like hands down, is onboarding. Okay. Onboarding is such a terribly scary process for the average user. And one of the things that we're focusing on very intently right now is in finding ways to streamline that onboarding process, so it is no longer the terrifying, difficult thing that it is at the moment. I don't want to go too much into detail on that, but there is a big chunk of the paper for the Vision 2023 that is based on that. And a lot of that will factor into expanding the community for Townstar and opening up Townstar so that more people can get into it and start playing, which is something that we absolutely all want.
Yeah. We're actually just talking about it right before the AMA too.
Yeah.
So real stuff going on. And then, there's also be typical, player acquisition stuff. Some people might have already seen the ads starting to run. So we'll do the traditional things, but stuff Bitbender's talking about is whole nother level, next level stuff.
It's gonna be cool. Well, guys, I gotta go. I have to go run and take the wife to an appointment, so I'm gonna go. But you guys keep being awesome, and I will catch up with you all soon. Hold on, I have to do some shout outs here. I love going through these lives and seeing everybody who's in and who's listening. It's absolutely amazing. Let's see, Gladiator. Nice to see you, Gladiator. Rocket Unit here as well. WTF Crypto. Nice to see you, man. God, everyone's here. This is awesome. And then it stops. I can only go so far. That's irritating. Anyway, you guys rock. Thank you so much. And I will catch up with you all soon.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, guys. Peace out.
Okay, catch you later. All right. So yeah, that's awesome. It's always fun to have Bitbender join us just for a few minutes. He's plugged into so many different parts of Gala, up to date on ecosystem notes, things that are coming in the future. And like I mentioned, I was a little bit late because of some of the conversations we were having literally in a Discord huddle just before the call. So there's a lot of really good stuff coming. And I think it really supports the idea of us just continuing to build out the ecosystem on chain with Townstar, more awesomeness, so that we as game makers can make even better play experiences for everybody. So let's jump onto our agenda. Michelle, what's first up?
Let's go over what happened this week in the Townstar live game. This week, the Cranebot got some love. It got a speed boost. It's up to speed of 13 now, and the road requirement to place your Cranebot down is gone now, just like the regular in-game builder. We also added the Quick Builder NFT to the game. It's like a nice in-between point between the regular in-game builder and the Cranebot, if you're looking for a nice in-between one. It also doesn't cast any shade or pollution, so could really come in handy for those end game adjustments that you might need to make when you've already got your whole town filled with trees and you don't want to put your builder down somewhere where it's going to slow your trees down. A quick builder could for sure come in handy. That was about it that happened this week in terms of updates. Our updates are getting smaller as we're moving most of our focus over to the new game. This coming Monday, we've got the new meta coming in, which I'm sure Mal will talk all about later today. And I think that's all I've got.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, just to share a little bit, behind the scenes, like we like to do, about what's happening on the team. More and more focus of everybody, both Townstar Live people and Townstar Godot people, is just getting on, testing last minute features, bug fixes, all kinds of stuff like that to get ready for the play test that we want to do by the end of the month. So pretty intense focus on that, while also making sure the game runs, making sure that we continue to support our community, have AMAs and all of those things. So yeah, it's this kind of interesting in between period for all of us on the Townstar team as a whole. Upgrades getting smaller. Now the team is getting closer to the releasing new version. That's right, Rocket Unit. That's exactly right. Part of the transition is getting Townstar Live devs up to speed with the Godot environment and the Godot code base and architecture, so that once we go live, they can hit the ground running. So that's what we're that's the focus as we're doing it. So let me see. Is there anything else? Did we miss anything on the Townstar Live updates? I think we got it all. Did we?
Yeah, I think we got it all.
Yeah.
I think we're
All
moving
right.
on to Godot now.
All right, let's talk about Godot. So feels like it's time to share. Why don't we share that video as a sort of a starting point? What do you think?
You want me to drop it?
Yeah, drop it in there, and I'll share a little bit about that. But then we also have Volcron here.
Hey guys. Hopefully my mic is.
And while that video is coming out, wow, that was fast, Michelle. I
That
always
was
say
really
to my
fast. I'm
speed,
very
holy
impressed with my
cow.
internet speed today.
You beat my GIF. That's incredible.
Holy smokes, look at that. Yeah, so look at that video. And actually, Michelle, why don't we share the other one too? Because I originally thought the other one was a little too, spinny and stuff. But what you're looking at in the video, we're doing some tests right now with lighting, time of day, and you can tell that's on the orange ground, if you will. I know a lot of people aren't super fans of that, but what I asked the team to do is give me a couple of different lighting schemes, just as tests, right? Morning, the kind of golden sunlight that shows up in the morning, then midday, then golden hour. That's what the one we're sharing right there. It's thus named because everything has a golden glow to it. And then night as well. And night's tricky because you want to have the feeling of night, but also not be too dark you can't see anything. But then also the option to add lights coming out of buildings and street lamps and stuff like that. So this is a work in progress. This won't be in the initial play test, and we're going to have to figure out how quickly we can get it into the full release once we go live. But this is a little bit behind the scenes of what it, a little about the making of that we're going through. We're also working on, if you guys have seen the kind of the publicized roadmap for Q1, Q2, we continue to work on the just doing a visual update to the game. Think about it like if you're going to renovate your kitchen kind of update. So we've got some art working on that in the background as well. And when it comes time, we'll share those things as well out to everybody. So just a little bit of visually interesting, cool looking stuff. It's one of the fun parts about working on a game is we get to do all this stuff in the background and make some really great looking visuals. And shout out to the artists and devs that help put that together.
Yeah, it looks so good.
Yeah, so LB Postman, yeah, that's creepy. What you just shared there. But it does inspire ideas of, wait, what happens at night? Do things come out? No, because we've never seen Townstar at night, have we? So, all right. Well, Volcron, we missed you last week.
Thanks.
I'm sure there's a ton of questions revolving anything from, town updates offline, leaderboard updates. How does that work? Because if we're playing, catch up with towns once people log back in. So I'm going to let you take it from here with your updates, and then we'll do some Q&A so people can catch up with the questions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I'll start with what you mentioned there, leaderboards. So the way the offline play works, I don't know if I should go into that kind of a technical detail, but basically the
layman's terms.
Yeah, layman's
terms of work.
Layman's terms is we have a system in place that will do the offline play for you at the appropriate times. The most accurate leaderboard entries will be the people who are playing right this second, who are currently online. And we're working on a UI element that will show in the leaderboard if this person hasn't logged in like an hour or whatever, how long it's been since their town has been updated. Now, one of the concerns was, of course, you're like, well, what if somebody has an awesome town that's generating, gobs of money and they drop to 5th place or whatever? They haven't been on in a day. I think I'm in first. I'm worried that when they come back, they're just going to log in and suddenly be in first place. What then? So the counter to that is that we're going to make sure that the leaderboards for the offline people, don't fall that far behind. We're going to make it, hourly or every 6 hours or something like that. Still trying to find the sweet spot between, server speed and realistic scaling and keeping the leaderboard accurate there. So hopefully that addresses any concerns about that. We want it to be fun and, as accurate as possible for everybody. So that's leaderboards. Let's see, what are some other topics that I missed last week?
Well, why don't you just give us sort of a general update on how things are going on the dev side?
Oh, okay.
The test and fix cycle that we're into.
Nice. Okay, yeah. So we're actually at what I personally find one of the most fun parts of game dev is when everybody's pieces are coming together and you're able to rely on the tools and systems that you've been building for months to troubleshoot and support and look into things. Our admin tools that let us look at towns, edit those towns if we have to, Those are working now. Those are great. I think Michelle's using them in the back end. And then as far as like using the other tools for troubleshooting, all that is coming along awesome. We're at the point where we have sophisticated enough tech to support and investigate problems that most problems can be identified extremely quickly. And so then what it comes down to in terms of getting ready for the playtest is stuff like, oh, well, here's a silly thing like this. This unit doesn't go to the right place. Okay, that's a data problem. So you have that class of errors, and then you have the other ones that take a little more digging because they've grown beyond the capability of the tooling or whatever. So those are actually pretty interesting issues. Running 3 and 4 towns locally to test multiplayer is always fun. And then getting it up in our internal staging environment and seeing the problems that different edge cases have. That's fun. It's challenging. So yeah, the whole team is pitching in, and we have, as Mark mentioned earlier in the call, devs coming over, onboarding onto the Godot stuff, fixing bugs, doing anything from big to small bugs. Yeah, it's an exciting time. We're getting so close.
Yeah, I think just give I want to give a quick sort of top level context. Having been through a lot of ship cycles with projects, what happens is just typical, and it's sort of maybe it's just the way game bugs and debugging process works. You start off, you have a big handful of bugs, and then you fix them all, and you're feeling happy, and you do another test cycle, and wow, there's another big handful of bugs, right? And you go through that a couple of times, and then at a certain point, the bug count starts dropping, and you're getting more and more tests, longer period of test time without any bugs. But the ones that you find are like the really squirrely ones. Like, wait a minute, I did this here and something randomly seemed to happen over there. Why is that happening? So we're getting to that stage right now where getting to the harder ones, the ones that are not just like, oh, look, there's a bug. Let's just fix it in 5 minutes. So that's a good sign. Volcron's mentioning it's fun to go through fixing bugs. It is, because you see rapid changes, but there's also some of these tricky ones where you just, the real head scratchers for a couple of days, and the team just keeps hammering away on them.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting to that phase right now, as well as we also one other thing, Volcron, then I'll let you keep going. We also have what we call happy path testing. This is something that Mal and Michelle are doing, because there's three types of testings. One is you have a test plan and you say, does this building work the way that it expected, right? And does it follow all the parameters? That's really kind of individual building testing. Then we have just random testing. Anybody shows up and starts playing, does whatever they want. And then we have happy path testing. And this is where Mal and Michelle are really, really, really helping out with all their expertise, is they're able to go through and play as if they're just playing Townstar Live, and then point out missing parts, point out problems, point out issues that then we can quickly address. So we got those three sort of tracks going on right there.
Mm-hmm.
What else, Volcron?
Oh gosh, I guess if I went through a list of the latest changes and everything, I don't know how useful that would be for people, but yeah, the data changes, pulling in existing stuff, looking at I don't want to leak any of the advanced things, but looking at some of the features that are not in Townstar Live, I'll just say that, and testing those out with the new functionality. That's been good. Some of the stuff coming in as recently as an hour ago, looking good. Let's see, and then tons of fixes, like even down to the UI level, like where text is centered, or maybe we're improving upon it. QA cheats, things like that, telemetry, more work on analytics. We want to know where stuff is going. Yeah, it's a huge list of stuff we've done just in the past 3 weeks. Even it's quite a bit.
One of the things you called out is analytics, right? A lot of people don't think about the fact that underneath all the features, underneath the back end, the database system, the connection, to get your NFTs into the game, there's this layer of stats and analytics that we use to help improve the game, help make sure the game is healthy, right? And in terms of, the number of people that are playing, where they get to, you know, if they're a new player, how far they get into the game, so we can understand where maybe friction points are, kind of issues on the health of the economy, the spend, all those kind of things. And those are, we have to get those right as we launch, because you know, otherwise it's kind of like flying a plane without any instruments.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really good. And then the other piece is we use that, so Musashi and uses those things to guide new features tweaks, and Mal can use them to guide and understand how a meta is doing in competition. So it's one of those things everybody overlooks, but yet we have to get it done before we launch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess I should say that the level of sophistication, the technology jump between Townstar Live and the way the live ops run for that versus what we have here is just orders of magnitude. We have so much more at our disposal now in terms of deployments and logging and telemetry and stack traces and all this good stuff. It's the kind of project you would want to work on if you were joining a game company. It's good.
Yeah. Anything else, Volcron, before we move on to the next set of whens and questions and stuff?
No.
Maybe questions from the community.
Oh yeah. Will those
Volcron's been out for a bit. He's back now, full of answers.
will those statistics be
Almost
public?
leaking.
Interesting.
Well, statistics. Yeah, probably not. You know, it's just for privacy reasons. We will be connecting into the, you know, public chain. The chain's pretty public, right? So you'll be able to see transactions on that. But what's happening inside of the game, that's proprietary.
Mm-hmm.
When playtest, can you share the timeline of Godot? Next competition on live. Before we jump into that stuff, any other sort of questions for Volcron specifically? Tech questions, testing questions? Anything in gold, you know, with Bitbender off of gold? Question for gold. How offer more gold to gold members? What about give the gold member? All right, that's Rocket. That seems like a feature request.
Ooh, gold names in leaderboard. That's a cool idea.
That is good. That's a cool idea. So we'll collect those things. We always want to treat our gold members well, obviously. And there's just so much stuff. Our focus is really on and get this thing out to the public and get out the door. And then once we get that out and stable, everything will be able to flow pretty quickly with new features and new additions and tweaks. Other questions for Volcrons before we move on? Grok, this exactly. Feature creep. My gosh. No new features. No new features. No new features. We got to get this launched. One of the things the team will tell you is I have just been repeating in Slack 3 phrases. Same phrase 3 times. Playtest, playtest, playtest. Focus, focus, focus. We have to make sure we get this, get all the little parts and pieces nailed down so that we can get this out into everybody's hands. We've been working on this for a long time and excited for people to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm not seeing another a whole bunch of other questions for Volcron. So let's move on. Michelle, what's next? Where are we at?
I think what we're at next
Oh.
are just the when questions, when playtest.
Yeah. Okay. Let me jump in on that one. Yeah, like Michelle just said there in Discord, we're launching a whole new game on a whole new engine. So new engine, new architecture, new chain. There's a lot of work happening. Our goal still is to get a play test going by the end of the month, which is not very far away, basically 11 days. That may slip. I don't know. You know, I'd rather get something out to people's hands that's stable and playable and not just a giant crashy bug fest. And we're getting there, but that's still the goal. We're actually working on figuring out getting the tech in place to open it up, have a small number of players come in and play it first, and then expand that as we go. And just to give you a little more knowledge, so yes, we're still focusing on trying to drive before the end of the month, which technically might be the last day of the month, if not soon thereafter. But the way that the playtests will work is, I'll tell you what we're doing internally. This week is team playtests, and next week we do company playtests, and then after that we go public. So, and as we go public into the playtest, we'll start with a small group to start with, because, man, why not start with 100 players out there in the ecosystem? We'll probably do more than 100 for the first one, and let them find a bunch of bugs so that the next 100 or 200 or 500 people don't have to run into the same things. It's just kind of will be a measured rollout of playtest. And then the idea, and it's really pretty simple, is we'll just be able to smooth right over and suddenly like, hey, guess what? I think we're there, full live. Let's just say we're full live and go. The other thing we're going to be doing during the playtests is we're going to be looking at all the code systems, all the data systems, the balance, and everything to make sure those numbers are right, so that when we turn on earnings after the playtest, we'll feel confident that things will work well there. This is, if it sounds kind of boring and slow, well, it'll be fun once we get the game out there. But we do want to be very, very careful so that when we turn on our earnings, we can keep them on and we don't have any ugly surprises for everybody. So hopefully that answers. If you guys have more questions, jump in and ask them real quick before we move on to the next topic. Well, one of the next topics we have is, when is earnings, right? So that'll be after we finish the playtest and we go live. The key thing I want to be doing through the public playtests is making sure that all the numbers work right. We've made some adjustments and we want to test it with everybody. So during the playtest, there won't be any earnings, but we'll be looking at the town point numbers and doing the math behind the scenes to make sure that everything is working out as we planned. And then we turn on the earnings. So so we're not getting hands on Godot this month. We're trying. We still have that goal. Getting the game to the final steps of bug fixing is taking a little longer than expected, but I have hope. I have faith in our team. A lot of stuff going on. Full public launch, we're not going to be able to hit that this month. Yeah, Moise, I thought we were going for live February 1st. Has that changed? We're going for public playtest before February 1st. Might be the first week of February. But you can see from that video that we shared, there's a lot of stuff up and coming in the game. It's not vaporware, but there are bugs that we want to fix. Peace of mind. Town rewards will be given in Gala. So it will be as a ratio or straight Gala. Just peace of mind. Read the light paper. Mysterious went through and changed the notes there to update the light paper for Townstar Godot to show Gala instead of town. And that'll give you all the details on the equations there. Okay, let's see. So we're getting some. How will we pick people for the play test? Let's see. Who? Mysterious or Musashi or Michelle, do we have data that we can share with people on that? The question from S2 Anna S2.
Yeah, I don't know how much we want to share there. I know we have a couple different criteria that we're using to select who can play in the first playtest, and part of it is to get the right number of people to play in the playtest so that we're not overloading the server causing issues as we get the test started, but also wanting to make sure we get people, valued members of a community into the playtest. So I don't know if we want to
What's the
share all the
initial
details
number?
yet, but
What's the initial number that we're targeting?
the initial number that we're targeting for the first place test is probably around 500 to 1,000 people.
Okay.
We'll invite more, but we know that not everybody will obviously play. So we're targeting, somewhere around that range of 500 in the first play test. But as you're talking about SageMaker, we'll continue to open that up to more and more as we get going. And just depending on how the playtests are going and what they look like. But I think the cool news is that we've started testing internally, as SageMaker was saying, and we're getting that list of people together to help us test, which should be fun.
Yeah, and one of the things, again, remember I was talking a little bit earlier about nobody ever thinks about the stuff like getting your database servers up and working. Players always think about what's the features. A lot of people miss Well, what about the stats and metric system so we can make sure the economy is healthy? And that the other thing is there's some complexity of picking people for playtests. Right? We could just throw out a bunch of invites, but we want people who are actually actively play. Because imagine if you guys were in our shoes and we invite a bunch of people and then, I don't know, for some reasons they don't show up or don't play, that kind of gives up a potential spot for someone who really wants to play and can get in there and exercise parts of the code. So there's just these little extra bits and pieces that we're having to pick up and make sure we try to get right and be as fair as possible to the community, get active players in.
And I guess that it might be worth saying, we definitely will have some of our top competitors, or a list of top competitors, able to play in the playtest, which I'm sure a lot of you will probably be excited about.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do want to test out that part of the code. So for part of us, as part of our criteria is looking and seeing, how do we get the widest bit of coverage across the game, different types of players that come in and play. You guys know how in the community there's some really hardcore, intense people, and then there's some people that are more casual. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. Let's see. So we talked about play test. Earnings will start after we get through the play test. Be looking at the data. There may be a period where we have it fully open to anybody, where we kind of watch for a short period and then turn on earnings. But yeah, that's the goal there. Really just trying to make this as smooth as possible and go as quickly as possible to get this code into everybody's hands.
I love the excitement of everybody to play in a playtest. That's really fun.
That's good. That's hard. That's
Y'all are
heartening,
awesome.
guys. Yeah, that is very heartening.
Everybody wants to test it out.
Yeah, that's good code. It looks good. It feels good to play it. So let's see. Other questions before we move on. A couple of other talking points and leaks and stuff. Will there be competitions during the play test? Yes, we have to try to run one of those to make sure all of that code works there. Okay, let's see. ETC gem. Last time you've heard of Gala used in the store as a sole way to replenish distribution. All right, our plans to make people spend Gala within Townstar or specifically outside of store purchases. So yeah, there's kind of a leak. I'm not sure, Mysterious, if we've talked about this yet, but right now, just like in Townstar, all the spend happens in the store. But there is a plan, and I'm not sure if we leaked it in the roadmap, but there's a plan to be able to pull that inside of the game to just eliminate that step of having to go out of the game, buy your stuff, and come back in. It's a little bit tricky, but it's definitely on the feature list to do after we get this Townstar Godot launched. Maro, will there be guidance on testing or just plain stumble onto bugs? Probably be both. I mean, one of the things I like to do during play testing is say, hey, everybody, this is an area we'd love you to focus on. And if you got some extra minutes, play over here, whether it's like, joining and quitting or, closing a tab, some simple stuff like that. But we'll have done a lot of that internally ourselves. And what we'll be looking for mainly is those weird cases, where somebody comes up and says, I've used, I built, I found this weird browser and I run the game and something weird happens. And then we'll look at it and we may say, hey, kind of switch to a non-weird browser, but, thank you for that bug, because maybe it will highlight something else that, we need to fix across other parts of the game. So definitely there'll be a combo. There'll be a lot of communication during the playtest, and we'll be sharing notes and feedback with everybody. Let's see. You said, Oz. Yeah, you're jumping ahead of our agenda there, Oz. You said you were going to look at revising earnings and going to list them out this week. Yes, that's in process. Let me save that for a minute so we can cover other questions, but we will get to that today. We'll talk about that. Who else, guys? What other questions do we have? Are we seeing anything on Twitter or anything in gold that we should address?
I don't see anything in Twitter, but I'm not in the Gala Gold chat.
Okay. Ink Knight Town Power. That's gone. That's gone. Read the light paper. Talks. It doesn't even mention Town Power nor Gala Power. Dropz, is there a preferred browser? We're all a lot of us are using Chrome. I've been testing on Firefox as well and pulled up some tests on Safari. If that works. Don't worry, the Power Rangers still exist. We're waiting. So Mal had an appointment that he had to go to, so we're kind of waiting, hoping he gets back in time.
I'm here.
Oh, Mal's
All
here.
right.
Waha, waha. All right.
I'm still in the car though, so if I cut out, then there's a whole bunch of bridges and all sorts going on here.
Okay. So we'll jump in. Well, it's perfect. So we'll jump in a couple more questions and then move forward and talk about stuff, and then let Mal do his normal awesomeness. So how does Gala spent in the store get back to Townstar work with the Q1 burn? Ed77, it's a reminting process. It kind of talks about it inside of that light paper there. Let's see. Are we going to have Gala sinks in Townstar outside buying from the stores? I mean, upgrades buying cash. Yeah, ETC, we basically are going to be doing massive upgrades to the store and the way the game plays inside of the game to stop you from having to jump out and come back in. We're not ready to talk about those things, but yeah. Let's see. Moise asked the question, can we include OpenSea fees in the Gala reward for TS items? Are you talking about in the reward pool? Interesting. We'll think about that. It's a new item, a new thing that we hadn't thought about before. But thanks for raising that, Moise. Can old NFTs come back to the Gala store by any chance? DubstepRod has it right. Not are burned, man. Gone. They do not come back. All right, so let's jump in real quick. And I've, Mal's here, Musashi's here, and Mysterious is here. Let's talk about earnings. We talked, and let me just give you the kind of the background. We're ready and just on the verge, the doorstep of sharing the updating earnings information, and we need to do it. Just a couple more things with inside Gala today before we share that information. Our goal is to get that out, the details and the numbers out by the end of the day. But in the meantime, who wants to, Mal, Mysterious, Musashi, who wants to kind of share the process that we've been following and kind of the approach that we've taken to adjusting earnings and what we found? And I'll set us all up. Look, we started out and said, let's review, and I've had the team review every single NFT, where they fit in the ecosystem, how it works. Is it healthy? Is it unhealthy? Is it causing weird side effects and problems? Because when you make a game that's live for, Townstar's been live for 2 years now. When you make a game that long, sometimes cruft builds up. It's always a good time to sit back, or a good thing to sit back once in a while and check and go, wow, should we kind of do some cleanup? And so I asked the team to review everything, soup to nuts. They've been spending a couple of weeks on it, and now they have presented a set of changes, which I'm really happy with. I think they've done some really, really great work on that. But like I said, we're one step away from announcing the numbers. But who wants to take a lead on that? Mysterious, you want to take a shot and kick us off there? Talk about the process.
Yeah, I can talk about the process a little bit. So we took a look at, as SageMaker said, like every single NFT, how much they earn, how many NFTs are out there, to get a full view of just how, all of the NFTs in the ecosystem, and to just get that overall picture. We have been working, looking at the Townstar NFTs, looking at the Townstar Vox NFTs, the Townstar Mirandus NFTs. And as we shared a bit last week, we've been working on a little bit of a new system for the Vox NFTs and how they earn.
Hey, Mysterious, one quick note.
Yeah.
Do you know off the top of your head the number of NFTs that are out there? Just to give people a sense of scope of what you guys had to look at.
Well, if you combine, actually, I should pull up the sheet so that I have the exact numbers, because I don't want to get something wrong. So give me 2 seconds on that one. So we have, well, yeah, let me preface this one way. So we have 248 different Townstar NFTs, all of them with different quantities of those NFTs, which some have 10 NFTs. I think the new Sphere of Hope has 138 NFTs, which is a lot lower than typical legendaries, which is kind of cool. I was looking at that yesterday for a little while. And then we have some that have thousands of NFTs, right? For the Vox and Mirandus, as everybody knows, Vox collections have 8,888 NFTs, but not all Mirandus and Vox NFTs have been open. So only 8,421 of those exist in the game currently. So I could look at the quantity of total NFTs as well. I don't have that pulled up in front of me, but we have many thousand Townstar NFTs. So let me see if I can find that really fast. Musashi, do you have that number pulled up?
You mean the amount of actual NFTs?
Yeah, I know we calculated it somewhere. Let me see if I see it.
It's yeah, I have it right here.
Cool.
I'll send it to you. Give me 1 second.
But either way,
Yeah, well, he's pulling
a lot
that
of
up.
stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff to look at. But what we've noticed is, that the oh, sorry, go ahead, SageMaker.
I was just going to say, well, I was pulling that up. Why don't you keep going about the process and the approach you guys used?
Yeah, and generally speaking, like what we've seen is that the Townstar NFTs, they were launched in this game. They're generally really they made sense for the earning model that we had, and we've gone through them, and we generally like the way that has worked. What we've also seen is that with the way Vox works in the ecosystem, there was an opportunity to improve that a little bit by bucketing them. And we talked a little bit about that last week. So creating these buckets of different rarity scores, and then putting earnings based on those buckets. So that's been a process we've gone through. And then we've, what slows down this process is making sure that everybody within the Gala ecosystem feels good about the decisions that we're making. So that includes the Townstar team, the Vox team, the direction that we want to go as a company, and making sure that all of our NFTs have value in our games, in our ecosystem, and all of that. So what I'll leave this with is just that with the Vox one, it's not just a matter of earning in game, but then it's also what utility those Vox will have in Townstar and other games as well. So that's been the process we've been going through to look at all this. It's why it's taken a little bit longer, is because of all the work that we've done to work with other teams in Gala and make sure that what we're doing is right. I don't know if there's any more detail you want me to give there, SageMaker, but that's kind of the process.
Jump in. Yeah, we've got, so one of the things we did is we looked across all Vox and basically created 5 buckets. I don't know if we've talked about that. And if you guys remember how Vox earnings work, they're based upon score from rarity tools, right? So effectively someone outside of the game itself had the opportunity, thankfully it was never happened, but had the opportunity to somehow make some changes to their calculations and possibly dramatically change what happens inside of Townstar, which everybody knows that's kind of like a really wild thing. You never want that as a game. You don't want some external sort of system change to be able to come in and really just wreck or turn the tables on your economy and games. So that's one of the reasons we look at creating these buckets and saying, look, of course, these rarity scores, we're going to create 5 buckets, and then we're going to assign earnings for those things. And we're just working out the details on those exact numbers there. But the whole idea was to pull it down into the more common range, what's happening with Townstar earnings. And I have a note, one of the notes I have, there's a lot of people who don't get, why is everybody talking about Voxes and what's happening with them and what their earnings are, but just a bit of, background here. And Mal, jump in if you have a little bit more data there that you can share. But one of the things, the lowest Townstar Vox earned 37 town points, right? But Epic Storages and Water Towers only earned 18, And so when you kind of look at that and go, wow, Vox is...
Yeah, so...
go ahead. Go ahead, Mal.
So,
Oh, Mal just went under a bridge or something, I think.
Yeah, I came in and out. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I was just going to reinforce that point. Is it's just bringing it more in line compared to, like, if you look at our epic and legendaries, like a Style and Ride, it's like 32. You know, it's a legendary NFT. It gives passive iron as well. So, you know, and you've got like epic water towers. I think they're around 18. You've got the epic storages and all of it. It's just to bring things more in line with, you know, the rest of things. Because when looking at it from that perspective, you just realise that there's a just changing the difference really by a little bit on that point, and that's why the brackets are really good for that. The buckets,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. So that's the approach that we're taking, and just trying to keep it rational, keep it simple, set up the game and our players for success in the future. Like I said, one of the things that, and I'll just say it bothered me as a game maker was that someone outside of the game, you know, rarity tools could, I don't know, they could change your equation and suddenly everything in the game would be different. So, you know, it's part of this process as well. Musashi, did you pull up the number of NFTs that happen to be floating out there?
It's in our Slack. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a random number. It doesn't make sense. I think it needs looking at just in a sense of how which ones we're including. So
Okay.
it's just because there's like tons of store. You know, you got 6 types of storage, and you got one for like every single crop, and yeah, it doesn't make sense looking in that sense. So and I'm not sure if we've included like part. I don't know what's included, if that's all in and all. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So just ignore that.
So the words of wisdom from Mal: ignore that stuff because it doesn't matter anyways. Perfect. I love that kind of thing. So anyways, yeah, so there's the idea of buckets. And just, well, like I said, we're just putting the final touches on notes that we can share out on the numbers. Try to aim for this afternoon USA time. So let's see other questions. So yeah, I see some nice images about buckets. Yeah, just really trying to keep things simple there. Questions that pop up. Let me see. How many NFTs can earn in Townstar, and how much can they earn as a whole? Moise asked that questions. That was the number we were just trying to look up. We'll have to figure out really the clarity on that. We know that they're 248 in Townstar, but I don't have the exact number of how many can earn and how many don't earn.
Maybe we can discuss the proportion. We know that Townstar NFTs account for a little over 90% of what can be earned, and the rest is divided between Vox and Miranda's. So
yeah,
that's what we're looking.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about numbers. We usually don't have the numbers at our fingertips right now. And I know what happens when we talk about numbers before we're ready. Everybody jumps on them and said, "You said," right? So, Dash Rishrop, you said, so you are going to release a paper this afternoon listing earnings from no, not for each NFT. Just talk about adjustments. Talk about adjustments. Think of it as more of exceptions, and then everything else, if it's not listed, will stay the same. Trying to keep things easy. Trying to take the fastest, easiest approach there. And you know, the other part is that means all the guides that are out there will have fewer updates, right? If we just talk about the exceptions. So ETC, great question. Are the NFTs on the store that have been sold with no earnings be assigned earnings after this revision? Not certain. Not certain. I wouldn't count on it. They were as they are, and you can expect changes going forward. It doesn't mean that they won't change or they won't have new, you know, special features that we talked about, like leveling up and stuff, as once we get them over to Jiri NFTs. But we're going to be very, very careful on how we do earning going forward. Really, really careful because obviously we want to make sure the economy stays healthy. It's really that simple. Other questions around this? I know it's a big topic. I want to share it, and I know we're a little later than planned. What I'm finding out is that it just takes a little bit longer than I naturally expect to lock down numbers, make sure that you know, everything is clear so that we can share with everybody. And just there's another note here. Don't forget what I said earlier. As we go through the testing phases and we watch how things play, we still make some tweaks to the earnings, right? So part of this is, as a game maker, you start with a theory, you start with your ideas, and then you see how people play and see how it works, and then you make modifications, adjustments, tunes, and tweaks. You guys do beer. You're asking these great questions today. I don't know how to say your name. Is do beer? Do beer? You guys once told there'll be no more earning FTs. I don't know. I don't know if we said exactly no more earning NFTs ever. If we did, that was a misstatement. But during the period when they were turning off, there's no reason to turn them on, right? No reason to release NFTs that had earning when we didn't have earning. Willow, look, you're almost at the end. Don't skimp on the sales. Let's just talk. Was there other items on our agenda? Now that we have Mal here, Mal, you're still with us. Able to talk?
Still here, yeah.
Perfect.
Sorry, I was reading internal. Yeah, what's going on, sorry?
It sounds like time for us to share the agenda items that you're part of. Which
ones were those? There's a sale.
Meta?
Is there any more?
We could talk about
mostly
Meta.
just sales stuff.
Okay. I was just wondering. I'm trying to catch up on what I've missed while I was out, so I was just making sure there wasn't extra. So yeah, the sale. So it's rather funny because I'd kind of got it all mixed up in my mind, and Willow was obviously doing his usual, making up words to exaggerate a situation, and I might have spoke out of line. And for that fault, and for Willow's fault, you do not get the leak of what it is. So you can all blame Willow for being incorrect in his wording for like the 7th time now. Willow, back to the sale.
Dude.
Back to the sale. So this Monday coming, it's my pleasure to introduce the Great Sawmill. What's the Great Sawmill? Well, it's a lumber mill, but it's not a normal lumber mill, of course. It's the Great Sawmill. And this sawmill will perform the same things as a normal lumber mill will, only doesn't need a road, doesn't give shade. So you can place this. It's a rare rarity, so it's going to have 2,000 amount, so it's not going to be like a super limited thing. Going to have 2,000 amount, no road, no shade. This sawmill operator comes from the mountains, you see, so he knows his way around nature and how to not disturb things around. So if you want to keep your sawmill close to your wood, get that power lumber out and whatnot, there's the Great Sawmill coming on Monday. And I'm just reading the details now. I found them. $100, 2,000 store supply in Gala, Town, and credit card with no purchase limit. Do I need to repeat any of that?
No, Willow didn't hear it.
$100 just for you, Willow. $100 repeated. Does anyone else need anything else? Credit card, Gala, Town, Great Sawmill, rare rarity, $100, no road, no shade. Are we all satisfied? And I will then explain. The meta's mostly leaked. I'll just jump straight into it. It's going to be fabric boxes. But I said I was going to change some things because I wanted to really see some boxes flowing. I wanted to see some records broken. So I went and changed a few things, 4 things actually. And that was cotton yarn and wool yarn. Rather than be 5 cotton required to make a cotton yarn, it'll be 1. It's normally 5 wool to make a wool yarn. Now it's 1. Uniforms. I had a look at uniforms. It's now 1, 1, 1. So that's 1 cotton yarn, 1 wool yarn, and 1 energy to make a uniform. Flour remains unchanged. It is still cash boosted. So everyone remember to tell the new guys to use flour. You might want to use it yourself. There's no other cash boosts in the meta. There's no timer changes in the meta. You have got it all in the pins, and that is all you will need. The next question I know people are going to ask, and I don't know where Top Boy is, but when can we have the Great Woodlands Ghost card? And I do not know, but I do hope it's before the competition. We're definitely looking and trying to get that out. But regarding the meta, it's all pinned. The only thing that's missing is the fabric box points, which everyone keeps asking me. But as I try and explain, it'll just be high, very boosted. Just picture big numbers. It doesn't matter what they are. People are like, it matters. No, it doesn't. If it's going to matter, it's if I'm going to put them in a point where something else could be meta. And I would tell you that in advance, so don't worry. It's not that. It's going to be meta. Big points. No cash change, no timer change. And the changes are mostly around creating uniforms so you can fill those boxes quickly. But that won't excuse bowls and other factors that you've got to include in this meta.
Top Boy did jump in and announce Monday, hopefully, worst case for the carts.
Well, trying for today, but worst case Monday.
Cool. So there you go. Farm Michelle shared the meta out. Thank you, Mel, for doing that. Any other leaks, Mel? We've got one that we want to talk about, and I think I can't remember if it's Musashi's going to share it, but anything else from you, Mel?
I'm just trying to think. Well, there's tons, but I don't know what I'm allowed to leak, so I'm just going to. I was in the chat telling people last night because obviously I like certain type of NFT that I want more of in the game, and I was speaking to you last night about it, Sage. So
yeah,
hopefully in a couple of weeks I can leak some more fun stuff like that for everyone. But for now, the leaks are on pause.
Yeah, those are cool. Those are cool that we were talking about. Well, let's jump in, and I forgot, Michelle, who's supposed to talk about this, but the leaks on. We want to talk a little bit about decorations in the game. That's kind of a new thing. I know people are like, "Whoa, wait, decorations? What are those things?" Who do we have tapped in to talk about decorations?
I don't remember who was going to talk about it.
All right. Well, hey, Musashi, are you still with us? Can you just share a little bit about the categories of things? You're the one that kind of cooked up that list.
The categories. Yeah, sure. I mean, I would love to have something to show, but sadly we're busy with the release. We don't have the images yet, but we are testing that out. Decorations. We already have some of them produced. The thing that we're gonna have is that every town instance, you will probably have several towns maybe at the same time in different competitions. In each town, you'll be able to pay cash to get some basic decorations in, and this will go from like in the new, let's say the new separate placement system that we have. Each one can be like a 16th of a current building, right? So if you want to fill up small spaces with little decorations like flowers, for example, or bushes or something like that, to pretty things up, you can do that. And we'll also have some premium decorations that will be NFTs and that will be sold probably in limited quantities. They're exclusive theme, and we'll have them in a monthly cadence. We'll try to adapt to a monthly cadence in general. So expect things like probably don't want to announce those yet, but expect theme decorations month to month that will be exclusive and will be available in different sales.
Yeah, I'll jump in it. I'll help you leak a little bit there. So when you talk about themed decorations, everybody knows, holiday themes are a common thing in games, and we like to do that same thing. So we'll be supporting those kind of themes, plus other random stuff, plus collections if you want to decorate up an area. And I know I see Tina 444. You're like, I don't care about decorations unless they have points for utility. Hey, we completely understand that there are some players out there who just play for hardcore. Give me the points, give me the earnings, give me the win. But there's also people who don't. People who like to create their own special space. And as we go into the forever features that we've been talking about with persistent towns and gigantic maps and that kind of thing, opens up a lot of space for new types of gameplay, a lot of space for fun, a lot of space for entertainment. That's not just go out and win and place on the leaderboard. Now, that being said, we also know, wouldn't it be cool if we had competitions where decorations mattered, right? So there's a lot of deep thought going on inside of this. King Drac, is that me? Yeah, that's me. RE2 Generals. Yeah, you caught me. You found me in LinkedIn. So there is. Decorations are coming, and like Musashi says, they're actually, some of the art sections are being developed. We're gonna start plopping them into the Godot engine to check and make sure they look great, and maybe in the next I don't know, couple of weeks, we'll have something I can share with people so you can see how things look.
Yeah, and as you said, the cool thing is thinking, well, maybe some of the players right now are more about points and stuff like that, but we are making efforts in the near future to bring in a bunch of new players. Hopefully, we'll be interested in those things.
Yeah. That kind of ties back to the question someone asked earlier about how are you going to grow the ecosystem? Now you guys are starting to see how some of the parts and pieces and the plans that we've been working on for the last few months are coming to light. Other questions? I think, Michelle, did we miss anything from our agenda?
No, I think we went through everything. I think we did great.
Okay. Any last questions that we have out there?
I'll address Postman's. Apparently, the Sphere of Hope still needs the update on the graphics. I'm going to try and figure out what's going on there.
Okay. We seen anything in gold or in, I'll take a quick check in gold. If anybody's got a question that we didn't see yet, quick pop it up there. I'll take a gander. Not seeing anything. If you're in gold and posting something, jump on over to Townstar discussion so we can make sure we catch it before we head out. Any questions popping up on Twitter? Doesn't seem like we get that many questions on Twitter, but always happy to talk about them.
No, there's nothing on Twitter.
Yeah, G2K. Farmer Shell, you do have, when you first start talking, it does sound a little bit robotic, or as G2KM says, inside of a Coke can. I'm not sure what the issues are there. Funny. Can you do a gold giveaway? Amy TSM. Maybe. That's not something that we're thinking about. Let's see. Are Townstar nodes earning dollar Gala? How are those different from founders? So ETC, just think about the idea that where you receive Town before, you'll get Gala now. That's the fastest way to think about that. The easiest way to think about it. Okay. Anybody on stage have anything we missed? Anything to share? Mysterious, you always have good stuff to say. Did we miss anything that we should bring up?
I don't think so. I think what's worth sharing is how excited I am for the playtests that are coming, the work that's going on. Townstar Godot, getting to playtest, getting to work with the engineers, crushing all these last bugs. It's pretty exciting on the team. I know it's very technical, not something that you all are seeing, but from a team's perspective, we're having a lot of fun with that, and just so much progress is being made, and it's a cool process to go through. So I just want to share that, even though it's not community facing. It's pretty cool from the team.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy going on right now in that. It's this pause moment, but the pause before the storm, when we go public with everything and everybody's playing, and you guys get to find out all the weird bugs we couldn't recreate internally. And our goal is to get through that period as fast as possible, so we can get on to this bit of adding new features and fun and exciting things into the game. There's so many plans. If you hear me just continually focus on get this thing out the door, that's why. That's totally what we're doing internally as well. Well, I guess it's time to wrap. Really appreciate everybody and all the questions. You've seen us continuously over the last 7 months now ago, 6-7 months, do weekly AMAs. Our goal is to always just share what we can, share reality, walk the talk, as we like to say it, keep our promises, and actually deliver. We're not perfect at it, but we got a whole team of people working really hard to create a great experience for everybody. And yeah, so and your guys' help, as I mentioned, keep mentioning, your guys helping new players who come into the community is so much appreciated. It'll help grow us and make us all stronger. And your support and your comments and your fun during AMAs and just in general just really helps energize the team. So thank you everybody for that. Really, really does make a difference. And without further ado, I'm just going to say thank you and goodbye. Everybody on the stage, thank you too for joining us.
Thanks everyone for being here. Thanks everybody. So fun.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Have a good weekend, everybody. It's exciting to see everybody here. Maybe the host can leave this running just for a second so we can go through the audience. Love seeing everybody's face. Citizen X, I didn't see any comments from you today. Rocket Unit, thank you. LLIU, Tanae, good to see you again, man. Been a while. Happy to have you in the audience. Hit me up later if any questions come up. Bureau, nice to see you. Magipto, nice to see you there. Who else is here in the audience with us? Looking for old faces and new faces. Vulture, nice to see you. Saw your comment there. Tubbs. Missed any comments today? Pina, we saw yours there. Dash Riprock, thanks for coming back again. I really appreciate it. Your support and your questions and everything. Gala Girl, see you there. Mari Lou. You know, some of the things I'm seeing is, you know, inside of Twitter, it doesn't really tell everybody's full name. So if you get a really giantly long full name like Elder M, I guess I can tap it up. Elder Maxon. There you go. That's how that happens. I'm still sort of getting up to speed with seeing everybody. Rich Game. Nice to see you there. It's me, Frank. Hello. Gladiator of the Blue Realm. Nice to see you there. WTF Crypto News. Yeah, let us know if you have any questions, man. We're always happy to answer and talk. Yaikan, the Dead Gamer, welcome. Sarah with Han, ETH. Nice to see you there. Inspira.eth, hello. Steve R82, welcome. Thanks for coming. Everybody really appreciate everybody coming here and sharing questions. You know that we mostly take questions off of Discord. It's just a little easier for all of us to handle. But definitely, if you have questions, hit us up on Twitter and we'll get to them as well. Cuffed, nice to see you there. Part of the Gala Gang. Who else? Who else is out there? Marco Oasis Protocol Pasa, welcome. Great names, guys. Great names. Who else? Some people are slowly letting off. We're not going to share any more information. So I appreciate everybody stopping by and chatting with us. I just like looking and seeing who's out there in the audience, getting to know people. Charles Schneider, LV Postman. Oh, hey, there's your whole name. Cool. You ask a lot of questions all the time. You're very active. Thank you. Moise Medina. There's your full name. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, I'm gonna head out. Work